As the House continues to tie itself up in a contentious battle for House Speaker, Senate Republicans are getting a bit alarmed. According to a report by the news organization The Hill, some GOP senators are worried about House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy's failure to get the requisite 218 votes after 5 rounds of voting, now 6. Some reportedly fear that this battle foreshadows the future for this new Congress. If elected Speaker, will McCarthy be able to unify his party? Will the House Republican Party have the ability to agree and pass legislation this year? These are some of the questions reportedly swirling among Republican senators. Texas Republican Senator John Cornyn even went on to tell The Hill that lack of agreement in the House is embarrassing. South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham told The Hill that it is, quote, not a good start to the new session of Congress. Well, no kidding, Senator. What was the clue? Today, Wisconsin Congressman-elect Mike Gallagher rallied behind Leader McCarthy. During his nomination today of McCarthy to be Speaker, Gallagher knocked Democrats. Here's what he had to say.
But I think my friends on the Democratic side misunderstand what's happening here. Sure, but democracy is messy. Democracy is messy by design. By design. And that's a feature, not a bug of our system. We all out in the open for the American people to see. Because at the end of the day, the president's not in charge, the Supreme Court, the Speaker of the House is not even in charge. The American people are in charge.
And earlier today, a statement was circulating suggesting former President Trump backed Byron Donald for Speaker. But Trump has shot that down. Trump posting on Truth Social, I have always supported Representative Byron Donalds, have consistently endorsed him for Congress, and in fact feel that I was a primary reason he entered politics in the first place. He's a young man with a great future. With all that being said, the story and statement that was just put out that I endorsed Byron for Speaker of the House is fake and fraudulent. He will have his day, and it will be a big one, but not now. CPAC chairman and author of the book, The Desecrators, Matt Schlapp, joins me. Wow, now even the president's gotten into this.
Yeah, you know, I think this is good of President Trump. He endorsed Kevin McCarthy, sticking by his man. I think that's an admirable thing.
Well, what do you make of the fact, though, that Congressman Boebert and Congressman Matt Gaetz, who are Trump supporters and at least seemingly close to Trump, is that they almost mocked him about this?
Well, there's misperceptions here. I'll just go through it quickly. The first thing is Kevin McCarthy raises political money through his C4, and he plays in primaries. And he puts a lot of political money out there, but he didn't spend any money to help Lauren Boebert, who won by literally a handful of votes.
500.
He played in some of these primaries, like with Mary Miller, against Mary Miller. When you play in these primaries as a Republican leader and you lose, that person's going to come to the Congress not being overly enamored with you. And so Kevin McCarthy should reconsider playing in those primaries. And the second thing I think that this fight is all about is spending. Senate Republicans can't seem to stop all the spending. And these stalwarts in the House are saying, look, all we want from Kevin McCarthy is a commitment that we fight, even Senate Republicans, when it comes to spending, because with inflation, it's really a disaster for average Americans.
But hasn't Leader McCarthy made that commitment?
He's made a lot of commitments.
He's made a lot of commitments,
yeah,
and it seems like, you know, whatever the numbers are, it's 20 today, I think, that are voting against him. But I think we're looking at a core of 5, and he can, you know, I think they're harder to pull over the line.
He can still cut deals with some of these people.
But that core of 5, it's not a matter of, you know, Leader McCarthy saying I'm not a big spender.
The core, look, some of them it's personal. Matt Gaetz, Kevin McCarthy stepped away from him when there was this question about whether he was under FBI investigation. As I said, some of these folks feel like McCarthy was unkind to them in their own primaries. You would think that someone who was the leader of the party...
Well, they should say it then. That's not what they're saying.
Well, some of it's personal, but I do think there's a bigger principle at stake, which is these folks want to make sure that when Republicans run around the country and say that we're going to cut spending, that we're serious. And unfortunately, when Congress acts, and this is why Boehner and Ryan couldn't get reelected to Speaker. Remember, they're both failed speakers because in the end, they didn't solve the problem of the Freedom Caucus. The easiest vote is becoming Speaker. The hardest thing is now to marshal those folks to pass a budget and to actually do things. So this is the easy piece. If he doesn't have the votes on the easy piece, it's not going to get any better, even if he gets through. Well,
we're waiting around for 8 o'clock tonight when they get back and they're having, I don't know what's going on behind closed doors. I can only imagine. But I want to ask you about one of your tweets yesterday. And,
am I going to get in trouble again?
I'm going to tease you about it. About a tease. It says, yesterday they adjourned about 5:30, and your tweet yesterday, the House is exhausted. Almost worked till 5:30. Good news is noon start. I read that this morning. I almost spit my coffee out. I read it a little bit late. And I thought every teacher, fireman, firewoman, first responder, I mean, these hours do not look particularly punishing.
Look, it's a little unfair because most of the real work happens when the TV cameras aren't on, when they're not on the floor. But it was a little tongue-in-cheek because all the commentary was, oh, my God, this is outrageous. It's going on and on and on. And I looked at my watch. I was like, it goes on until 5:30, and then they're going to reconvene at noon. And look, this is going to take a couple of days to resolve. It will be resolved.
You think it's going to be resolved in a couple of days?
Yes, I do.
You think that these people are going to throw in the towel?
I think Kevin McCarthy either has the votes or he doesn't. And eventually, if he doesn't have the votes, they're going to find a consensus choice who isn't Kevin McCarthy. I've said I like Kevin McCarthy a lot. I think he's a very skillful politician. I think he could be an effective speaker. The only way he's going to be effective if he can work with these people who don't trust him on these basic questions of fighting spending. If he can resolve that, and I think a secondary thing, get out of these primaries. Make a commitment that you're going to support Republican incumbents and you're not going to get involved in all these primaries. I think that would be a very smart thing for him to do. I think that would take the pressure way down. No one's talking about that on TV, but that's a big piece of the hostility. The Kevin McCarthy money machine, a lot of these Freedom Caucus people believe that hurts their primary candidates.
Why was he more skillful at that? You say he's a skillful politician, but he could have been more skillful at that if that indeed is sort of a...
I think he was a little shocked. I think people were saying, like, I came on your show several times. You asked me, does he have the votes? So I said he does not have the votes yet. And in your green room, a couple of people chastised me. He's like, no, he's got the votes. He didn't have the votes.
He still doesn't.
That's right. And it was clear weeks ago that he didn't have the votes. And so I think he thought that everyone would just fold under criticism. But I don't think they're folding. I think, if anything, you're going to see a slow drip. Now, I still think he could get the negotiation done. I think he should follow my advice on the last couple things to do. I think he'd get the majority of these people back, but it's in his hands.
Matt Schlapp, thank you. We'll see what happens. 8 o'clock tonight, we have another round. Thank you, Matt.